Hey, how's it going? Welcome to part 3 of the 4-part video series. Today we're going to be looking at adding these text fields, the remember me checkbox and the forgot password button, and the don't have an account and sign up button. We're going to be adding all of that today in one video. Please try to keep up. So to start off, after the spacer, we're going to go ahead and add a new column. This one doesn't really need any styling, it's just there to keep a bunch of things inside of it. First of those things is a text field. This is the label for the first text input field. It's going to be your email. Right below it, we want the font size to be 15 SP. We want the color to equal color.white. Remember your commas. Then we're adding a modifier, which is equal to a modifier. The padding for this thing, this is where the padding in the case of margins happens. The padding is going to be 8 dp. As you can see there, we've basically created a margin. Next, we're going to add a text field. This is where stuff really starts to hit the fan. To do a text field, you do text field. Remember to import. Text fields need a value variable to work. Value that changes while we're using it. This is also how you capture what's written in the text field. So we're going to do email text, and then on value change, we're going to do email text equals it. Remember your commas. These are this is our variable that will contain what is written inside of this text field. Let's go declare it up at the top. Let's make a new section called variables. This one is going to be var email text. It is a string by remember. And this is going to be quite possibly your first case of mutable state of, not mutable state list of. Remember to import. And we're just going to leave it blank for now. Remember to import everything, as in import remember and mutable state of, and that is going to create our text field. But it looks a bit it looks kind of dry, it looks kind of bad. We're not done yet. First we're going to add a label. Now the label, I'm going to refer to the label as this thing over here, the email, your email above the text field. But when we're talking about the components, the label is actually the placeholder text in the middle of the your email text input field. It's the text that goes here before you start typing. To add placeholder text, simply do label equals text, which I can make anything I want. johndoe@24.com. There you go, some nice placeholder text. Next up, we're going to actually format the colors of this thing. Text fields need to change like the default values of what they are. This is why I hate them so much. So you go colors with a lowercase c into or equals text field defaults dot text field colors. To use this text field colors, up at the top, you're going to have to declare, like right over here, up above the composable, you're going to have to type the following. At opt-in experimental material 3 API 2 full colons and then class. This allows us to change the styling of our text inputs. Now I'm going to text bomb you. Inside of colors, we want to add the following. Oh, excuse me. We want to add the focus text color, the unfocused text color, the cursor color, the focused indicator color, unfocused indicator color, container color, focused label color, and unfocused label color. All of this together makes it so that our text field looks like that, so that it's just transparent or white. That text input doesn't look very good though, so here's how we're going to change it. We're going to add a border. To do that, we're going to do modifier equals modifier dot fill max width dot border. Inside of border, we're going to do width as 2dp. Going to have the color be color dot white. Then we're going to do shape equals rounded corner shape with about 30 dp's worth of corner. There you go. Brilliant. And then it's looking a bit tall. It's looking a bit thick. So I'm going to add a height modifier with a height of 45 dp just to shrink it a little bit, make it a bit thinner. Now, because this is an email field, or because this is just a blank text field, anyone can go type anything into it with no regard for what it's supposed to be. That's why we're going to add keyboard options. I'm going to do comma, keyboard options. Remember to import keyboard options. And set the keyboard type to email. Spider on my desk. I think I got it. This makes it so that every time we do, or every time we type in this, it needs to have an @ symbol in it because it is of type email. After we've created this text field, let's just add a little spacer after the column before we add in our second text field, which is literally just a copy paste of the first one. Do this with me, guys. We are going to highlight from here, grab this entire column, Control and C on the keyboard. Below the spacer, Control and V. Once the rendering is complete, you will notice a second text field. We're just going to do some changes really quick, like changing the label to say your password, changing the placeholder text to say password here. And then for keyboard type, we're just going to change this to say keyboard type capital P password. And we're also going to add visual transformation. Password visual transformation. This causes the whatever you type in the password field to be those dots that you get when you make a password on every other website. You know, the one, you know, the thing. Now that that's done, after the text field, we can go ahead and round out the rest of our column. That's just about everything that goes there. Next off, we need to add the row, the remember me checkbox forget password row. To do that, I'm first going to add just a little bitty spacer that is about 2 dp, just so we get that little bit of extra space. Then we're going to do row. Remember to import your row. And we're going to have a horizontal arrangement modifier of arrangement start, because we want our checkbox and our remember me to go on the left, my right, your left side of the box. It needs to go over here. And then we're going to have the forget password over here. To do that, we do horizontal arrangement start, and then vertical alignment center vertically, because these items are not the same height, so we need to get them to just look nice. Gonna do another modifier equals modifier dot fill max width. We want it to be the whole width of our row. After that, we can actually start adding things into it. Going to start with a checkbox. Now the checkbox is interesting because you can only check or uncheck it by changing a Boolean variable. We're going to name our variable checked. And the onCheck change is going to change checked equals it. Scroll all the way back up to the top. Over here by our variables, we're going to create a new one for our checkbox. This is going to be var checked is of type Boolean by remember. It is a mutable state of, and we're going to set it to false to start with, because if we set it to true, as I will demonstrate, it's going to be checked, and we don't want that. We want the user to be able to check it. If it starts checked, what's the point? Back down over here by our checkbox. I'm just going to add a comment here to visually distinguish this. Remember me row. Now that that's in place, we can add our text next to it. This text says, remember me, like that one Tame Impala song. We're also going to have it be font size 12 SP. We're going to have it be color dot white so that it stands out against the dark background. Next, we can go ahead and add a spacer with about a width of 75 dp. This one has a width in it because we don't need a size one. A size modifier expands it all the way around. A width modifier just makes it longer, whereas a height modifier would just make it taller. So a nice width modifier, we can see it over here. And then we're going to add a text button, which is a button that is just text. It's going to have an on click of nothing because you are going to do that. Your functionality here. Then it's going to say text forgot password, and it's going to be the color rocket color. This is another variable that we're going to be adding. Rocket color is the color of the logo in the middle. It's that nice orange color. To add rocket color, scroll all the way up to the top. Over by our colors, we're going to add a new one. Val rocket color is color 0xFF F2994A. This gives us this nice orange color over here. That row over there is looking mighty fine. I think we can move on from that. Below the row, above the login button, we're going to have a spacer that just separates the two, gives us some nice visual space so that you don't accidentally press the wrong button. It's going to be a spacer with a modifier of 45 dp. Yo, my nose is so itchy. I think this is looking good so far. Let's add a nice little finishing touch at the bottom. Let's add a spacer below the login button, which ends over here. Add a spacer behind that, and then we're going to add another row to get that don't have an account button where you can sign up. We're going to do row. This one needs a vertical alignment, and it's going to be alignment center vertically. Next up, our actual content is a text field. Going to have the content don't have an account, and it's also going to be of color dot white. Once that's in place, you can see that right over there in the corner, not in the corner, in the middle. We're going to add another text button. This is the one that's going to navigate you to your sign up page. I'll leave you to learn how to do that on your own. It's going to have a text content inside of it that says sign up, and its color, let's just get this nice up and formatted up to standard. It is going to have a color of the same one that we defined a couple of minutes ago, rocket color. As you can see there, this is our login panel just about done. This concludes part 3 of the 4-part tutorial. I'll see you in the next video.